Hey, yo, let's see. Hey, that's working. So does that work? Okay. Cool. Bunch of noise. Let's go with that. Okay. Didn't get everything on I wanted to before I did this. It's been a little bit. So I forget how to do things. That's pretty good. Okay. Let's get this guy going. That should work. Yeah. And oh, this is still going. That's working. Oh, okay. No. There you go. That's what I was looking for. Cool. Cool. I guess we're good to go. Gotta keep this one shorter anyway. Howdy, folks. Cody here with IronVerse Comics, doing another coffee Cody and comics. What I call this thing? Yes, indeed. All right. Oh, that's intense. Skip track? Skip track. Thank you. Okay, cool. So we're good there. Do a little bit of advertising here. Of the stream, not on the stream. Well, on the stream, but you won't see the stream. See it on the stream. It ain't doing it for me. Let's do that. It ain't doing it for me either. We got higher thinking. So sure. That's a little better. Not the camera getting knocked around. The energy of the pussy cat. I had action. All right. Okay. Not much to focus on today. Just wanted to chat about what I've been reading, give a couple updates on IronVerse Comics as a whole, and yeah, really, that's the plan. Give it a couple more minutes. Drums don't. I'm never a big fan of speed metal drums like that. What do we got instead? I'd like my metal to be a bit more bluesy and rock and rolly. That's rock and rolly. Nico! You want up? You want up? There's Nami. Both cats. Hi, cats. What you doing, kitties? What bag? Get up here. Yeah, here she comes. Snack. Ugh. Give it one more minute. Then we'll start talking about Razzle. I don't think there's any other, like... So there is... I guess it ties into Razzle, so let's do that. Video on it, thank you. Oh, hi, she did bring up that story. That was fun. Okay, cool. That'll work. We'll go through this. Alright, that'll work. Let's go here, see what I have set up here. Nothing. Let's find something I'll show first. Out. This, I guess. Yes, I do. Alright. So we're gonna get into Razzle. But in case folks hadn't heard, Jeff Smith, creator of Bone, one of the most prolific, truly independent comic book creators who has basically ever hit any sort of mainstream success, particularly without truly selling out. That's the crazy thing about his body of work. Of course, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are probably the biggest, so success out of independent comics, but to say they didn't sell out would be one of the biggest lies you could ever say. They sold out and hard. Just, it's good for them. It's very difficult to make a living in comics. Jeff Smith was able to do it with his unique voice and creative talent, and is still able to do it. And made a series of stories, but in particular, Bone, a piece of beloved, I'll say children's entertainment, and that's kind of what it is, but it turns of epic fantasy tales with warm messages and just a wonderfully unique art style and stakes and just this grandiose feeling of adventure. It's hard to beat Bone in Western comics. Very difficult. Hugely successful comics began in the 90s, a combination of classic comic strip whimsy and grand scale token as storytelling, as it says here. He did self-publish the original run. He actually was directly calling comic shops to get them to have them back when that would actually work. And even then, it wasn't that big of a guarantee, but, allegedly he called every comic book shop in the country, which is, dedication. Series eventually won several Eisner Awards and Harvey Awards, which named one of Time's top 10 best graphic novels of all time. Very true. It's a wonderful story. I have it as well. It's about twice the length of Razzle here that we'll be talking about. As usual, we were going to adapt it, and that's happened many, many times. Is it the actual link to the tweet? Because that makes that easier. Let's just open it so we can see all the bit there. It seems again and again, and this is off of Charles Schultz, right? This is a Charlie Brown setup and take away 3 times, followed by let's just not do that again. But consistently, it's been attempted to be adapted. I believe the one adaptation that was done was by Telltale Games back in the day, which I have not played it. But yeah, he's consistently been kept out of true mainstream, and I don't know if there's reasons for that or not, in terms of how insular Hollywood is, let's just put it that way. But nonetheless, he had a cardiac episode. They are calling it a cardiac arrest, so it was a straight-up heart attack. Allegedly, he is recovering, but he is canceling the rest of the book tour to recover, which is the right thing to do by far. Sucks. I'm glad we didn't lose him. He is one of my biggest independent comic book inspirations. Jeff Smith is... I've said this a few different times in a few different places, a few different podcasts and such, but to be able to, and in fact, I have the quote. Oh, sorry, folks. Ooh, like it. When you don't completely have control over your music because you're being goofy, weird things on. But yeah, we go over here. I need this because Alf Waldo Emerson said it better than I tend to be able to say this thought. But be yourself, the world is constantly trying to make you something else. It's the greatest accomplishment. You pair that to somehow being able to find success in art, and I am crazy envious. Jeff Smith is one of those voices. I consistently, last time I spoke about it, we were talking about metal music and such, and I tend to bring up Motorhead when I do that. It's a very unique artistic expression that in many ways had no right being as successful as it was. Not because of its quality, but because of how unique the sound is. And you find that in all kinds of different mediums. In comics, though, Jeff Smith is one of those, and I am so impressed by his work. So then, now we can get into what I mean by that, too. So Bone, unique, beautiful expression, all ages. It was set up for success, and it was a very smartly done book. His writing's always really good, too. That's the thing. A lot of do-it-all-themselves creators have weaknesses in one spot or another. Jeff Smith is pretty much strong all the way through. I would say his endings can be rough. Having read Tukey now, and read Razzle, and having read Bone, Bone ended fine. Bone, it was felt all the way through, and it was finished. Tukey was rushed to the finish line very quickly. I think perhaps there were plans for more Tukey, and they decided to not do that, and so he rushed to clean it up in the second graphic novel to just wrap it up very quickly. It's kind of they're setting out on their adventure, and then you turn the page, and it's, their adventure's done. And it's not because it's super easy to tear through, which it is, but it's how the pacing was in Tukey. Not so great. Razzle, on the other hand, very well paced, beautifully done. I tore through this, and his ending is, it leaves you less of a cliffhanger than, less of suddenly we're done than Tukey. And it didn't take us long to get there as Bone, right? The art is beautiful. It's always good to see his work. Very expressive, very unique character designs. Again, his writing is incredible. It was nice to read something from Jeff that tackles more adult subject matter as well. It's a very unique talent and skill to be able to write for all ages, especially as we get older and become more and more jaded, and to actually create something that can resonate with them. But at the same time, if that's all you focus on, I think you can lose some of the honesty in your work, right? Because there's more to you than the veneer you need to place on top of your stories to help make it more palatable to a wider audience. Razzle, he didn't do that. Razzle's just honest Jeff Smith. And how it's sold as well, how Razzle's sold is like, well, this is a time-traveling art thief, right? The art thievery is the smallest part of this story possible. The time travel, even then, it's not time travel, it's dimension hopping. That's the largest part of it, and it's mainly about the implications of that technology, and then he ties it into the history of Nikola Tesla. And man, once I started understanding what he was trying to actually do with Razzle, I was just hooked. I'm a big fan of what many would call pseudoscience, and when you can approach, again, the original mad scientist, Nikola Tesla, with reverence and with a little bit of faith, let's say. And he ties that in a little bit with Native American mysticism and how some believe the structure of reality is, right? Like how reality is structured, I guess is the proper way to phrase that. And he guides you through it with this likable, very tragic hero, and there's room for more by the end of it, but he doesn't leave it there. He finishes all the plot threads that need to be done, and then he just kind of leaves it. And I would have loved to read a Razzle too. It's just there's so much about it. Again, it's far more adult. You get to see some nudity. But here's the other thing about Jeff Smith and about confident creators. Ones that, something I see a lot more in single vision driven projects, right? Pages and pages. This is the first page of Razzle. Pages of just his art speaking, getting you into the vibe and into the zone. It's 4 pages of nothing before he even says a word. And it's not nothing, it's pacing. It's a man suffering in the desert, right? All beat up, wandering, looking for purpose, lost. That takes an extreme amount of confidence. Something I, particularly in a lot of mainstream comics with larger name writers, they don't have that confidence. So they have to fill every inch with a lot of time I call vomit. Pointless writing. My work needs to be as important as the artist's. So if I don't have something to say on a page, it's a waste of a page kind of shit. They may be getting paid by the page as well, so it's a smart business move. But there's other things that I really love about this as well. 6 dialogue bubbles, 3 panels. Beautiful pacing. Beautiful pacing. I cannot recommend Razzle enough if you're into pseudoscience, if you're into a extreme talent being able to make a story that they just want to make and seeing how it goes. That's the other bit of the bravery. His subject matter that he chose for this, especially when you're falling off the heels of, again, an all ages masterpiece, Bone. The bravery it took to do Razzle is crazy. I just respected all the more for it. Took me a while to get to this. I actually had ordered it. It was an option to order it as part of the Tukey Kickstarter, I believe it was. I was excited to check it out, and then I had finished Attack on Titan. I had ran out of what I had of Spy Family at that point. I was looking through my reading pile. I was like, what do I want? What do I want to check out? And I saw this again, and I was like, oh shit, I haven't started this. I haven't even checked it out. I wanted to. Let me check it out. And a lot of times when that is a deal with me, and I try something, I get, 5 pages, and I was like, yeah. Razzle just absorbed me right away. Because he knows pacing. Like crazy. He knows how to deal out information and keep you hooked on a story. He knows how to panel like crazy. Jeff Smith is a pro, and I wish him all the best, and I hope he recovers significantly. I hope he back to his full self soon enough, because he's still somebody I would love to meet at a Comic-Con. Skip track? But I can't recommend this enough. It's an unsung masterpiece from an incredible talent. And the fact that we almost lost him recently kind of puts it in even bigger perspective. I had actually just finished this a day or two before that heart attack. Anybody watches this, you have any interest in Jeff Smith's work, if you haven't read Bone, go read Bone. It is a masterclass in the medium. There's nary a single fantasy adventure for all ages in the entire medium as good as Bone. Read that. Then if you like Bone, go on up to Razzle. See if that's your thing. Tukey was wonderful. It just, again, it felt rushed. It felt like he had like 4 volumes planned. And since the second one took so long to finish and do, towards the end of the creation, and it actually ended up being delivered late as well, all of these things, I think it came up to the point where it's like, I don't think I'm actually 100% on board with this, and they just called it. And it's not terribly unsatisfying or dissatisfying of an ending, but it needed more build-up that was obviously being set up, and they just decided they can't do it. and that's depressing because Tukey could have been another long story like Bone, but that's another source of bravery when you're able to step off a project, and not even just step off of it, but finish it, and then step off of it instead of just like, yeah, I'll keep going, and then you don't feel like doing it, and then you don't finish it. I think it was. Now I could be wrong. It's all conjecture. He could have planned it to end like that, in which case that was big misstep, because it literally is like they feel like they're just stepping onto their adventure, and there's a couple more like cool things that'll happen on their way to finding this herd, and it literally was like a page flip, and it was over. From that point, like it very odd. So if that's, I mean, I don't know, but I'm glad the guy stuck around, and I'm hoping we get another couple works out of this wonderful individual. Again, a mega inspiration for independent comics and for myself. Just find it if you can. I know they did another big reprint with Tukey. It's the print quality's really nice. I will be right back. Please stand by. Please stand by. All right. What was the main subject I wanted to deal with today? Don't really have much else. Update-wise, we should be finishing up fulfillment of the books, at least of issue number 4, here pretty darn soon. As far as I'm aware, the rest of the domestic orders the shipping's been paid for, and they should be set up and going out this week. Be excited to get number 4 out. all the way. That'll be great. We'll begin international as soon as we can. The shipping prices are ridiculous, so it's going to take me some time to take care of that. Some of the blow has been lifted, which is good, but it's still not where it needs to be a very comfortable ride for that. But we're getting there. Oh, but there. Yeah. Otherwise, though, folks, do I have any other updates? Don't think so. I could do the vlog part of today, but like nobody wants to hear my vlog part. It's my gigs get hard. It's the best way to put it. Like emotional. Let's see. So the other thing I've been reading, you can kind of see it up right there. Spy Family, Spy X Family, Spy Cross Family. Let's figure out how to say. Let me look that up. How to say Spy X Family? Is it like Spy Family? That'd be my guess. The cross is just so that it can be. I always assume the X-Men and like Spy and Family. So there's that too. Should be silent. So it is Spy Family. I don't know. Let me keep reading here. It's very confusing. Hunter x Hunter is silent, so that makes sense. So it is Spy Family. Okay, so it is Spy Family. Spy Family is incredible. Been reading that consistently. I still haven't gotten past where the anime was, and I had binged the anime not too long ago. It's the kind of book I need in my life right now. It's super uplifting and fun, and again, incredibly well paced. Some of the most likable characters I've come across in a very long time. Yeah, can't recommend that enough. But that's what I've been reading since Razzle. I was reading that before Razzle as well, a little bit during finishing Attack on Titan. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. I cannot recommend enough. Should be, volume 11, 10 or 11 coming out next month. And then I think the anime part 2 comes out next month as well, but I'm not. Month after next for both. Month after next. October. Time's moving fast, but not that fast. Oh, this is gonna be guitar on this track. I just wanted to stop by, say howdy, folks. I know this isn't like a very popular time to do these shows, and since I have no consistent time to do these, even if people wanted to be here, they can't plan to be. So I do a lot of things to stand in the way of my own success. But, still feel like doing this. Last week we worked on the, I think last time I streamed, I don't know if it was during a Coffee Cody or not, but something like that. Worked on the figures. I have made no progress on those figures since. They're still cleaned up sitting there. I do have a glue I prefer to use, so maybe next time I can assemble, but it's not much assembly. I've got to figure out how I want to replace the gun barrels, which I've got an idea. That will probably work. That would be the main part during assembly that would need to be done, is figure that out 100%. Execute it well, which is the other bit. And then basically just put them at the base, because I'll paint the capes separately. But I'd like to get those done and shipped out. That would be good. Yeah. I guess that covers it, folks. I wanted to, if we can make another, 6 minutes or so, that would be good. Make it a 45-minute or so. Go at it. I don't think there's. Oh, Dan Green. I think that's the name. Or Dan. Might be wrong. Let me make sure I have that. That would be. Unity tab. Oh, no, Dan Green, I was correct. Other big comic news. I think he primarily did inks. But yeah, Dan Green, incredible illustrator and inker, responsible for many of the most comic covers from the 80s, 90s. He worked with like everybody that was worth their salt in comics during that period of time. Just another loss. I know time marches forward, and this is going to become more and more prevalent as many more legends get older at around the same time. Sad to see. Sad to see. Oh, there's more brew coming out. Excellent. And that's one legend I am not. I don't know how to phrase that. That's one legend I do not want to hear anything happening to. Mr. Aragonis. But that's most of all. So I don't say it. Yep. I think that does just about cover it, folks. I've got like a million independent comics, crowdfunding comics I have helped support to check out. Hopefully, I will be grinding into those at some point. Two in particular I'd like to hit up are Kids and Monsters and space in the name of the second one. Thing with the crowdfunded comics is I would like to do IronVerse Quickies on them, which puts a little bit more weight on my shoulders about them, so I don't end up reading them as quickly. I don't have to. Terror in the Trenches, that's the second one. So I can do a quick little, like, 30-second review if I want. But, I don't know. The other thing with the crowdfunding comics, there's a lot of, including myself, right, very raw talent in it, and not always for the better. Again, I would include myself in that. Anybody checked out my issue number 2? Holy shit, was I exposition front-loaded. But, you know, it actually didn't matter for what I was doing, but yeah. But I'd like to do that. I started Girl with the Mega Fist Volume 2, which is old news at this point. It's been around for a good chunk of time. I'm that far behind. I already have Volume 3. And there's things I'd like to say about that, because I noticed it in the first Girl with the Mega Fist as well. But my creative juices, like even getting on this today, it's tough. Creative flow has completely been disrupted by my job and the mental and emotional burden of it. I'm hoping to find a better balance with it, but for now, just got to keep working my ass off and do the best I can. And this stuff has to come second, which depressing. It's how it goes. Like it doesn't make me money. It doesn't support my little furry family. It doesn't keep a roof over our heads, right? So it is what it is. But yeah, I appreciate you folks for joining me. I wish I had more to say, but yeah, we can keep this one short. I really don't have much else to chat about, but anybody who checks this out later, thank you so much for taking the time. I know I'm not the most enthusiastic, charismatic creator on YouTube. In fact, I'm probably one of the lowest energy, even with my coffee. I try to be honest and direct, and hopefully I'll get back to comic reviews, because I think that's where I can provide a little bit more value on this platform than these live streams. But again, we'll see how the creative juices go. For a while it was miniature painting, then it was music, which I was lucky enough on Monday to be able to jam again, which is good. I really appreciate being able to play music in a group. It does me a great deal of good. But as far as the comic book stuff goes, it's been tougher. It's been tougher lately. I think the main goal right now, the priority, is to finish fulfillment of number 4, and then breathe, and that'll take a few different forms. Might have some big announcements to do with those forms, but I think it needs to happen. And once I have this current endeavor behind me, I will be able to have a better perspective on things and make clearer choices, I think. And that's the big one. So yeah, that's where things are at. Alright, adios folks, I appreciate you greatly, and I'll catch you next time, whenever that may be. Bye con Dios.